So after a big-time Monday, Tuesday, it was a big-time losing day. Go 0 for 3 yesterday. Can't pull it out. A little bit of a gross day. Some not even gross beats, just tough games there all the way around. And that was how the card treated us. But we have a nice little card coming back today. John, you had the nice little road trip. Hopefully that treated you a little bit better than the games treated us yesterday.
Wasn't actually as bad as the games yesterday. If you guys take a peek at my Instagram page, hit a couple of just brutal rain spots. Baltimore, then right in Georgia. But the worst was Florida, which I couldn't even film. It was that bad. Got made worse when I got back home and saw that we were swept 0-3. Nats just couldn't get it done for us. Dodgers now red hot. We had a 1-unit bet there. Nats was also a 1-unit bet, a 2-unit bet. We just keep coming with the Orioles. And I'll tell you right now, we're on them again today. Just not giving the best team in the American League any respect. You just keep making them dogs, and we'll just keep betting the Orioles. So we'll talk about that game more when we get there, Ben.
Yep, we can go ahead and start diving in. We got some day games. We'll try to get this out to you guys quick as we can. We got Pirates at the Mets. This first NL game on the card. Oviedo versus McGill. Pirates get the win last night, evened up the series. They have now won 3 of 5 meetings so far this season. Pittsburgh 2-2 their last 4, 6-6 on the road since the All-Star break, playing just 500 ball. And Mets right now, last game 4-5 homestand. McGill, he's been roughed up 2 starts since coming back, 11 runs in 10 innings. Oviedo was crushed his last time out for 6 runs. Prior to that, though, was going on a solid stretch, 3-0.90. Going to give Oviedo the pitching edge here. This game to me is Pirates or nothing. They're being competitive. They're playing 500 ball, looking at a little bit of dog money. McGill's just been too brutal since rejoining the rotation here. His couple of August starts can't back that. So it'll be the road dog here or nothing with Pitt.
Yeah, and I would be interested in Pitt, but add a little bit of a bigger number. Not jumping out of my shoes at plus 08, plus 109. Yeah, absolutely. Oviedo, besides that terrible outing his last night, he had looked really good. McGill has been absolutely terrible since rejoining the rotation. Wasn't better earlier. Just does pitch decently in Citi Field, but that is a pitcher's ballpark. Pirates are nobody, but we need more. I've already got the lineups, all the main players in for both teams on out. Pirates are nobody, but at a bigger number.
And it's D-backs at Colorado. That's actually saved us another loser last night. We're looking at Colorado. We didn't end up sending that one out. D-backs pull it out. They even up the series. They've now won 3 of 4 since the 9-game losing streak. Meanwhile, Colorado, they've dropped 6 of 7, hitting just 205 this week. Rocky's got a big old pitching edge. It's Sassoni versus Gomber. Sassoni just going to be his second career start. Last time out, 2 runs in 4 2/3. And Gomber's been terrific since back end of June, 2.272 ERA, 2 August starts, 2 runs in 11 innings, one of those against the Dodgers. Had a quality start versus the D-backs back in April. He's been pitching great baseball. He gets the pitching edge. Yes, D-backs starting to turn around a little bit. Looks like they're going the right direction. But they got a big series coming up with San Francisco this weekend. So maybe a little bit of a look ahead to that, just as far as them trying to get back into the wild card race. And this Rockies team at home, just a bit different team. So this is Gomber with a pitching edge or nothing here for Colorado.
Yeah, this is our first bet of the day. We're right on the Rockies in this one. Gomber, big pitching advantage. This kid will be making just his third major league outing. He started with his debut against the Giants, gave up 2 runs, 4 2/3 innings, throws an inning and 2/3 of scoreless relief at his next time out. So starter, relief pitcher, now bringing him back as a starter. First 2 games of the series have been dogfights, back and forth games. Rockies will give him another tough game. Give me Gomber with the big pitching edge as a home dog. He's been really good. 5-2, 2.72 since June 25th. We get the Rockies a 2-unit bet.
Then Brewers against the hottest team in baseball, this Milwaukee team. Or Dodgers get it done 6-2 last night. They won 3 of 4 meetings so far this season, 3 of 4 in LA. Milwaukee snaps 4-game win streak. Dodgers now make it 9 in a row, scoring 6 runs per game, hitting over 290. It's Wade Miley versus Kershaw, a couple of lefties. Wade Miley comes back from the IL, second start back, then a quality start, 1 run in 6 innings. He was torched for 7 runs by the Dodgers earlier this year. And Kershaw, similar situation, returns from the IL, 1 run in 5 innings versus Colorado. His last 6 starts now 4-0, 1.18 ERA, going back to his 5 starts prior to the IL stint. He had one of those back against the Brewers in May, allowing 1 run in 7 innings. And he's been terrific at home this season. Kershaw gets the pitching edge. I mean, he's just been terrific this season, hasn't missed a beat. Miley, though, he's been very solid for Milwaukee. The matchup history there a little bit concerning from earlier this year. Dodgers really is only his worst start of the season, and his Dodgers team just too hot right now to go against. 9 in a row, playing great baseball, separating from everybody in the West. Between the D-backs, Giants, and Padres, those three teams can't get anything going right now, and Dodgers having a field day pulling away from the bunch.
Dodgers are hot. Dodgers back to being the Dodgers again. Not that 111 win team from last year, but the team that we figured they'll win the West. They're closing in on that 100-game pace to win 100 games. They're red hot right now. Tough to bet against them, especially with Kershaw. He's been so good at home, but just his second start back, start getting in your head. Dodgers now pretty much foregone conclusion. They're gonna win the West. You're not gonna let Kershaw go one pitch more than possibly needed.
Yeah.
He went 5 innings his first time out. Milwaukee still needs some W's to put away the West. I hate to go against the Dodgers, but it's Milwaukee and nobody. Dodgers are a 220 favorite. Guys, Milwaukee is a playoff team. Yes, not one of the top tier teams, still a playoff team. You have to take plus 200. In this game, it's Milwaukee or nobody.
Then it's another central matchup. Tigers at Minnesota. Olsen versus Maeda. Twins get the win last night. Tigers, they've won 3 of 5 at Mini so far this season. Twins just so streaky. Lose 4 straight. Win 3 straight. They can't they do everything in bunches right now. So right now they're on the upside. They're 1-3 straight. 8-2 their last 10 home games. Olsen, great outing his last time out just against the Twins. 6 shutout innings versus them. They won that game. Prior to that was brutal. 0-3 with a 6 ERA. And Maeda, he's been terrific since early July. 2.50 ERA. 2 starts for the Twins this year. 0.82 ERA. 2 pitchers who have really excelled in the matchup. Could be a look at the under here in this one. But definitely just a big price here for Minnesota. This would be a Tiger spot or nobody as far as the side. Olsen, like I said, very competitive in the matchup. 2-0, 0.79 versus the Twins so far this season. Tigers very competitive in this matchup. Twins need wins right now, but too big of a price here. This is Tigers or nobody.
Yeah, we sent out Tigers plus 170, a 1-unit bet. Hate to bet the Tigers on the road against a team that needs in a playoff chase, especially if Minnie starts to get a little hot. But with Correa out of the lineup for Minnesota and being at Olsen has had 2 phenomenal starts against the Twins, this big number just worth the price taking a play. Game has gone down to 150. There is no value left at 150. At plus 170 there was. We took the Tigers for 1 unit.
Heading to the AL West, this ice-cold Angels versus the red-hot Rangers. Rangers probably second hottest team right now behind the Dodgers. Rangers get it done again last night. They split 6 meetings in Texas this year. Angels, they've lost 4 5, 3-11 their last 14. Then you have the Rangers. They've won 4 5. They're 12-2 their last 14. Just 2 completely different teams trending in 2 completely different directions. Detmers versus Gray. Detmer's been miserable in August. 14 runs, 5 homers, 4 Ks, 5 walks, just 6 1/3 against 2 other AL West teams who offense aren't as good as Texas and Houston and Seattle. And then Gray, if Gray can get back, and last time he looked back, 2 hits and 7 shutout innings and a win there against the Giants. If he can get back to that form he was earlier in the season, Texas can really be a problem down the stretch here. He was having some issues before that, did have some issues against the Angels earlier this year, is a little bit worse at home. Still going to give him the pitching edge here. Detmer's just been brutal. Rangers clear as day, the better team right now. I mean, this is Texas on the run line or nothing. I want no part of the Angels.
No part of the Angels. We've been saying this since before the trade deadline. Trade Ohtani. They didn't listen to us. I don't know why, Ben. They didn't listen to us. Angels have been absolutely awful. In the meantime, Texas red hot. Getting guys back. Heim came back. Jankowski came back off paternity leave. So could Gray get back that magic that he had earlier in the year? A good start his last time out after a brutal stretch, which had an over 6 ERA. But again, as Ben said, definitely still gets the pitching advantage over Detmers, who has been batting practice his last couple of starts after having a few solid starts put together. LA a dead team, Texas a hot team. Want no part of the Angels in this one.
That's Mariners at Kansas City. Mariners get it done in extras last night. They win a shootout 10-8. They have now, or KC has won 3 of the last 4 meetings in KC prior to that. Seattle, they snapped a little 3-game skid. And then this Royals team on this homestand right now, 2-2 scoring almost 8 runs per game. They're crushing 326 this week. Bats are going. It's the pitching that's not. And that's ultimately going to keep me off this one. Just a big old pitching mismatch, one of the bigger ones on the card today. Castillo versus MacArthur. Castillo, 4 of his last 5 starts are quality starts. Last time out, 1 run in 6 innings versus Baltimore. Did get roughed up by Kansas City last season. He has been a bit worse on the road. But MacArthur, he's going to be making his first career start, going to be used as an opener, a KC bullpen game. Castillo, massive pitching mismatch. KC's offense been going, so that's the only thing that makes this enticing. I mean, putting up almost 8 runs per game, hitting over 320 this week. Looking at a big-time dog here. We Royals are nobody. I mean, with that offense, might be looking better off at the over there. Tough to buck with MacArthur, or the pitching edge there with Castillo to MacArthur.
Exactly. Seattle's trying to get in it, but man, KC playing well at home, giving Seattle fits right now. Seattle blows a 7-run lead last night to only come back to win that in extras. The big dog or nobody doesn't mean I'm betting KC because, as Ben said, this is a pitching mismatch. But yeah, dog or nobody had a huge number. Actually, the Sharps took this one down just a bit. They pressed it up a little bit on the overnight and then come back this morning with the Royals.
Rays at Giants. Giants get it done yesterday. That even up the series with a 7-0 win there. Tampa, they've won 3 of 5, 6-3 their last 9. All these teams in this wild card race got it or lost yesterday. Except for the Giants. Marlins lost, Cubs lost, Reds lost there in that back end. San Francisco, they've now won 2 of 3, still 2 and 5 their last 7. Bats are still pretty dead right now. We'll see if yesterday got them going. Savall versus Walker. Walker going to be a bullpen game. He's been pretty successful in the bullpen games. And Savall, second start back with Tampa Bay. Now after the trade deadline, that was against his former team, Cleveland, was decent. 2 runs in 5 innings. Was roughed up by the Giants last season. Really tough game to get a read on here. Like I mentioned earlier with Arizona, there's that series coming up there with San Francisco. Obviously, there's that look there. Lean here to Tampa Bay. I mean, Savall, what can he give the Rays? He was really solid down the stretch for Cleveland before getting traded. Haven't seen that version of him yet in a Rays uniform. And Tampa Bay needs the pitching help. They need him to be the guy they got at the deadline with all their injuries and all their issues. This would be Rays or nothing here. Going to give Savall the edge over a bullpen game. Rays have been pretty competitive on the road since the All-Star break, all considered. It's the San Francisco team. Yes, they kind of pull out the couple of last 3 here, but Bat's still pretty dead. This is Rays or nothing for me, John.
I agree with you, Ben. The Sharp guys, they disagree with us. Yeah. So this game opened -110 Tampa Bay on the overnight and is now sitting at -115 San Fran. Big move to the Giants. I don't see it. I get it. No Franco. The team is falling apart with injuries. McClanahan now undergoing Tommy John. He's done not only for the rest of this year, but for basically most of next year. It's also comes back. But San Francisco, this will be the second time Walker is going to be an opener in this series alone. This will be their third, basically, bullpen game in a row. Now, you got 4 innings out of Junis and 3 1/3 out of Manea yesterday. So those 2 guys aren't going to be your bulk relievers. They're going to be hard-pressed for pitching here in this third and final game of the series. It's a game Tampa Bay needs to win. They've got to get back on the right track. Yes, San Fran needs it too, but I want to take Savall. I'm going to give him a big pitching edge over San Fran, a taxed San Fran bullpen game. So we'll see where this game goes, but the lean is definitely Tampa Bay. We'll be on top of lineups. Again, let's say Arena or Diaz or somebody else is out for Tampa Bay, already missing Franco, and makes it that much bigger. So unless there's a big injury move, we'll be looking at Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and Rays have a stretch here. They might be able to catch up to Baltimore in the East. After this, they get the Angels, the Rockies, and the Yankees. So a couple of most of the coldest teams right now in baseball in that order. Then we have Houston at Miami, probably the best pitching matchup on the card today. Verlander versus Luzardo. Astros get the win last night, even up the series. They're 6-3 their last 9. Miami, they've won 5 of 7. Verlander's just been terrific since his last 9 starts. 5-2, 1.95 ERA. Last 2 times out, 5 runs in 13 innings, pair of quality starts. And 1 start versus the Marlins last year, gave up 4 unearned, and he has been worse on the road this season. Luzardo has just been brutal lately, 0-2, 10.13. I mean, this is a pitching mismatch in that regard. Luzardo has been great at home this season. Last couple of starts, though, very shaky. He's been struggling. This game, give me Verlander on the road here at a pretty cheap price. I mean, he's been looking like the Cy Young Verlander. Don't know how he's still going at this pace at this age, but he's getting it done. This would be Astros and Verlander or nothing for me.
Again, Sharps totally disagree, Ben. This game
Yeah.
opened minus 140 on the overnight, and they have absolutely buried the Marlins. Altuve, he left yesterday's game, probably going to be out. They're calling him day to day. We'll see if he's in. This line has moved too much for just Altuve to be out. I wasn't as high as the 140, but I'm definitely not a pick'em game with got to give Verlander the advantage over Lozano, who struggled recently. Lean us to Houston. If Altuve's out, that just about nullifies the advantage, but I don't see a big 35-cent move wanting on the Marlins with the way Lozano's pitched his last 3 starts.
Then we have some central teams, the Guardians versus the Reds. Reds staying ice cold right now. It's going to be Syndergaard making another start here for Cleveland. He's had 3 starts for Cleveland. 2 of them been solid. Last one 1 run in 5 2/3 against the Blue Jays. Was killed at Cincinnati earlier this year when he's pitching for the Dodgers. 6 runs in 3 innings and a loss there. He's been miserable on the road this season, over a 9 ERA in 7 starts. And Abbott coming off a bit of a bounce back start. He had his dominant stretch to get his career going, hit a couple of rough starts. And then last time out, 2 runs in 5 2/3 versus Pitt. He's been solid at home, 2.75. Lean to the Guardians here. This is a big price for a Reds team. Forget, America's team, the favorite team, blah, blah, blah. They were for a good amount of June and July. They're now 3-10 their last 13. They're a bottom 5 team since the All-Star break. They've hit the skids in a big way. And when they don't get the big pitching performances, they have not been competitive there. Abbott was giving them the big pitching performances. He's been part of this descent a little bit just because he's fallen off from pitching absolutely lights out. Syndergaard, 2 of his 3 starts been decent since return, and can you back him on the road is the question. This is Cleveland or nobody. Just really tough to back this Guardians team right now with Syndergaard.
Very tough. We had Syndergaard on auto fade, especially on the road earlier in the year, but this number is ridiculous. Abbott pitched good his last time out, but struggled 2 times before that. As Ben said, since he's struggling, just 2-2, scoring 2.5 runs per game their last 4, 3-10 their last 13. Not a team I want to be laying $1.70 with. Cleveland still in a race. They together a couple of W's, they're right back in it. Hate to say this, but it's Syndergaard and Cleveland and nobody. I'm not on them, but this isn't an auto fade. This is a tremendous overlay.
Then it's A's at St. Louis. Cardinals get the first 2 in the series. Cardinals heating up a little bit. They've now won 5 of 6, scoring over 6 runs per game, batting .295 this week. And Oakland lost 5 straight. Worst road team in baseball. Everyone knows the story there. Looking at the A's, though. Blackburn on the mound. Blackburn's one of these guys you can actually back for Oakland. Really, it's him or Sears are the 2 guys that actually make you interested in betting them. Blackburn, he was roughed up his last time out for 4 runs in 5 2/3. Prior to that, was terrific for 3 starts. They won all 3 of them. He went 1-0, 1.56 in that span. And then Liberatore, who was batting practice beforehand, next thing you know, goes off to Tampa Bay, one of the best home teams in baseball, just drops off a quiet 8 shutout innings, 7 Ks, no walk. So, let's see if Liberatore can repeat that. Prior to that, he was 0-2, 10.45. I was saying to John before, it almost feels like a little bit of a letdown spot here for Liberatore. I mean, he just pitched out of his mind. Best career start. Doubt he can replicate anything close to that, even against the Oakland A's. Big price here for Blackburn, the most competitive pitcher, keeps them in ball games. They've won 3 of his last 4 starts. Cardinals eating up. If Cardinals haven't won 5 of 6, scoring 6 runs per game, even if they won 5 of 6 and the bats weren't as doing what they're doing right now, it'd be a little bit more tempting here on Oakland. Can you back the worst road team in baseball? Do you want to back the worst road team in baseball this time of year? Tough question to ask still, though. Blackburn or nobody?
Yeah, Blackburn or nobody, just for all those reasons. I don't want to back the worst team in baseball. They'd have to force me on it, and they kind of, by putting this number up so high. If it was to go any higher, or if anybody sits out for the Cards, going to have to go there. Again, I want to repeat what Ben said. Liberatore threw 8 shutout innings, 7 Ks, no walks at Tampa. One of the best home teams in baseball. Prior to that, 0-2 with a 10.45 ERA. Tell me somebody knows what's going to happen in baseball. It is unpredictable. But yeah, I would expect him to revert back to the ugly Liberatore, even against an Oakland team. I would rather have Blackburn, but again, to make it worthwhile, getting a little higher number, or maybe Goldschmidt or Arenado taking a day off for the Cards, who aren't going to overwork any of their stars at this point of the season.
Yeah, you make that point again about everything with Liberatore. If it's kind of has that similar feel we saw with Valdez and Herman. I mean, granted, they had the perfect game in the no-hitter, but they were horrible before the perfect game in no-hitter. They had almost double-digit ERA. They come with that, and the next thing you know, they get roughed up their next start. So has a little bit of that feel like he'll go back to the norm. We'll see if that's the case. Then it's Red Sox at Washington, another one of the losers last night with the Nats. They lose that one 5-4. Still competitive in that, but Boston owns this matchup a little bit now. They've won 6 straight. Boston's won 5 of 6, scoring just 4 runs per game. This Nats team snaps a 3-game win streak they got over Oakland, still 12-3 their last 15 home games. Paxton versus Gore. Gore's roughed up his last time out by the Phillies. Prior to that, had the quality start versus the Brewers. And then you had Paxton going. He threw 5.1 shutout innings against Kansas City. Prior to that, he was getting roughed up a little bit. Another one of those, a little bit tempting here to go to the home dog with Washington. They were playing pretty good baseball at home. They were 12-3. Boston, though, needs wins, needs stuff for the wild card right now. Last night's game was a really tough game. They pulled out on the road. It was just a back-and-forth little battle. Soon as Nationals catch a lead, the Red Sox take it right back. So when you see a team fighting like that, especially when they're in the midst of a wild card race, it makes it a little bit tougher to want to get on the other side. Lean still is here to Nationals in the home dog with Gore. Just tough to do it with the team that actually needs wins right now.
Yeah, Gray just can't do it for us at home. He's been dynamite on the road, just different pitcher at home. He gave it up again last night. That's why we only made that 1-unit bet. Didn't have the faith in him, but we did in the Nats as a team. They're putting runs up. They're hitting. They hit lefties well. 276, 278 versus left-handed pitching, as Ben mentioned. 12-3 their last 15 home games. Paxton had a great run to start the season coming off the injury. A little bit of a rough spot, a little bit shaky lately. A better start his last time out, but only went 5 1/3 innings. I would be all over this if Gore wasn't so bad his last time out. He gave up 3 long balls to the Phillies. Again, it's home dog or nobody, but again, this game would have to be higher for me to be interested in Washington.
Phillies at Toronto. Jays have now won 5 straight in Toronto. Philly, they've lost 3 straight. They can't buy a run right now. Then that 3-game skid, they've scored just 2. Meanwhile, Toronto, they won last 2 after the 3-game skid. Nola versus Gosman. For those of you guys who tuned in yesterday, you guys heard me talk about the under on this matchup. Looking right back at the under again here. Phillies just not getting it done with the bats. Another pretty competitive pitching matchup. Yesterday was the same thing. Kikuchi versus Wheeler, 2 guys going solid. And this one, Nola versus Gosman. Gosman coming off 7 shutout innings versus Cleveland. That was another low-scoring 1-0 game. Then for Nola, he allowed 1 run in 5 earnings versus Washington. Prior to that was getting roughed up a little bit. Matchup history favors well for both pitchers. Both had quality starts earlier this year. 6 shutout innings for Gosman at Philly. Nola, he allowed 2 runs in 6 innings in a win there against the Jays. 2 pitchers going pretty well right now. Good in the history. The bats aren't doing much for either team. This is under or nothing. And if this price goes any cheaper, Toronto or nothing, Philly's bats non-existent. Wouldn't be mind laying a lower home favorite here with the Blue Jays.
I can see what you're seeing there, Ben, but you also have Matt Chapman, who's missed the last 2 games. He's going to be questionable for Toronto. Neither of these teams really scoring much. Nola, decent his last time out, only 1 run in 5 innings, but he'd been brutal before that. You take a look now, and after you got DeLorenzen, Walker, Wheeler, and almost Sanchez to a point. Nola may be Philly's worst starter.
Yeah.
He certainly is on the road. He struggles on the road. Guzman coming off another great one last time out. We lost that one. He got us 1-0 at Cleveland. Both teams in wild card spots right now. Neither team scoring. Price is right about the right number. Chapman questionable. We'll wait to see where the line goes on the lineups.
And Yankees at Braves. Braves get it done again. They won the first 2 in the series, combined 16-3. Yankees, they're struggling right now. Lost 4 straight. They're back to 500 for the first time since May. 4-14 in their last 18 road games. And they're going so bad. Elder, who was pitching like batting practice, 8 ERA, they can't put up a run out. And the fact they get held to 1 hit last night. So Yankees team's not doing anything right now. Braves doing everything with the bats. They won 5 of 6, scoring over 9 runs per game. Best offense in baseball, giving a reason why. Vasquez versus Morton. Morton coming off a bounce-back start versus the Mets with 5 shutout innings. Prior to that, 0-4, 7.32. Vasquez is a spot starter. He was used in relief earlier this in August. He had one start in July, one start in June. Those two starts, 10.2 shutout innings versus the White Sox and Orioles. Either way, I can't back the Yankees here. It doesn't really matter who's on the mound. Just two teams trending opposite directions. Yankees are dead in the water. Morton, this is just another opportunity for him to continue finding rhythm after that little rough four starts skid there. So bounce back opportunity for Morton to continue. Want no part of the Yankees.
It looks like whatever life they had was just sucked out of them in Sunday's loss.
Mm-hmm.
That big ninth inning blow up at Miami. Atlanta destroying them. It's combined 16-3 in the first two games. Vasquez is he hasn't even been announced. We're expecting it to be Vasquez to give up part of the year. Braves are just mashing right now. Morton better his last time out. Again, same as Ben, want nothing to do with the Yankees. Season's over.
Then a pretty interesting matchup. White Sox at Cubbies. White Sox get it done last night. They've now won 8 of the last 9 at Wrigley. Snaps their 3-game losing streak. And Cubbies, after being red hot since the break, they're just playing 500 ball a little over the last week. 3-3 their last 6 now, hitting just 213. They were crushing, 320, 330 coming out of the break, and that's definitely fallen off here. But like I said earlier, all these teams lost yesterday. Reds lost, Marlins lost. They still remain 1 game back of Miami for that final wild card spot. Clevinger versus Saad. Both pitchers coming off quality starts. Clevinger, 1 run in 6 innings versus the Yanks. Was roughed up a little bit by the Cubbies earlier this year. 3 runs in 4 and a third. And he's been roughed up on the road. 4.85 ERA. Assad coming off quality start against the Jays. 1 run in 7 innings. Prior to that, roughed up by the Braves. You got to take that with a grain of salt. Big price here for the Cubbies. Clevinger going to give him a slight pitching edge here. Yes, the road number is not that great. Just still a little bit more big league proven. Coming off a solid start. White Sox having success at Wrigley. We'll see if that continues. This is road dog or nothing. Yes, White Sox a dead team, but you're going to get up for the crosstown rivals. So this would be looking at Chicago. This is looking at White Sox or nobody.
Yeah, and they got up for them yesterday. I agree with you. You got to give the edge there. Cubbies also, as the Yankees, haven't made Assad the official pitcher, but that's what we expect it to be. Pitched really good his last time out against Toronto, but would have to have more faith in Clevinger in this spot. Robert came back last night, hit a dinger. That's what this guy, he's big to the lineup. The 3 games without him, they lost all 3. He's back in the lineup. Cubbies went from the hottest team in baseball right after the break to a 500 team that's not hitting much right now. We'll see where the line goes. Right now, they're showing 165. The Cubbies, once they get an announced pitcher, there'll be more lines. We'll see where the line is, but it would be a lean to the White Sox, who've won 8 of 9 at Wrigley. And
then we have Orioles at Padres. You guys have heard us talk about this for a year and a half with Baltimore being disrespected. I think this game is you said it earlier, John. Yeah, this is the most disrespectful point. This is where the disrespect peaks here a little bit. Big price for the Padres today. I get it. Snell's been terrific in in August, not as much. Last time out, though, 2 runs in 6 innings. Still a lot of walks lately. He leads the league in walks. Not going too deep into games with that. It takes up the pitch count. And then you have Creamer going. The O's 10-1 in his last 11 starts. Since July, 3-0, 3.29 ERA. Last couple of starts, 4 runs and 12 and a third. Been very consistent, very solid. They're getting W's behind him. I get the hype around Snell and what kind of a season he's had last 2.5 months. Padres still just not getting it done with the bats. I mean, you get it going yesterday on this little skid right now. They're 2-7 their last 9. They've scored 15 runs in the 7 losses, 20 in the 2 wins. You're stacking up all your runs and games at a time, and you lose 3-4 straight. Orioles are nobody. Big price for the best road team in the AL. Big price.
Rodney Dangerfield of baseball. What else could we say? To make it more interesting, so this game opened at -155, Padres on the overnight.
Which is still big.
Inch high already.
Yeah.
Well, the Sharps have buried this game. As high right now as -180 at Sports 411. I get Snell. Snell leads the league in ERA. June and July was basically unhittable. Little different now in 2 August starts. Not as dominating. Creamer, I don't know. Orioles 10-1 in his last 11 starts. They're the best road team in baseball. Have the best record in the American League. They cannot be a 165 dog. We're on the Orioles for 2 units. Keep making the Orioles dogs, and we'll keep betting the Orioles.
Yeah, and even schedule-wise, I mean, Baltimore after this, they get a day off, then they get Oakland. I mean, they're just cruising here. Padres with their series coming up. I mean, it's just no interest here in going with going with Padres at this number. Doesn't make sense to me, John. A couple of bets already out for members, guys. A little bit of a bad day yesterday. It was a good day Monday. Hopefully, we can get the week back on track with this card today. Travel day, getaway day, a lot of day games. John, don't know if you have anything else there here before we wrap things up.
I got nothing left, especially the voice is going too. So I'm going to pack it in with that. We'll be back tomorrow. Let's make some money.
Good luck, guys. Make some money.